Part 1. The letter. At 7:15 a.m. Thursday, Emily Carter found a letter hidden under the floorboard of her mother's bedroom. She wasn't looking for him. 3 days ago, Emily buried her mom. There was silence in the house now. Her mom's favorite cardigan still hangs behind the gold room door. His glasses were lying on the bedside table. A half-finished book lay open by the bed, where his mother had left it. Emily picked up the book and put it to her chest. For 18 years, this house was the only place she could truly call home. And now it felt strangely empty. As he wandered into the gold room, he noticed that the floor by the bed was a bit higher than the boards. She took a knee. Underneath it was a small metal box. Emily opened it. Inside was an old man's watch, several newspaper clippings, a picture and a white envelope. Her name was written on the envelope. Emily Carter. The handwriting was his mother's. Emily's hands began to tremble. She opened it. Inside was a single sheet of paper. My sweet Emily, if you're reading this, I'm not going to be truthful with myself here anymore. Something is you in me who has been hiding from you all my life. I did it because I believed it was the only way to keep you safe. The man you called your father was not your father. And maybe your real father is alive. Emily stopped reading. Her heart was pounding. His whole life suddenly became his. Her mother had always told her that her father had transitioned before Emily was born. Emily showed the picture. It showed her mother standing next to a handsome young man outside a small cottage. Emily looked at him. There was something oddly familiar about him. Then look at another person in the picture. A teenage boy stands by the black car. Emily recognized him immediately. His Uncle Daniel. Before he could think of anything more, he heard a door slam downstairs. Emily. Daniel's voice. He quickly hid the letter in his pocket. Climb the stairs and walk. Open the bedroom door. Daniel was standing there. His gaze immediately fell on the floorboard. Then the picture in Emily's hand. Her face turned pale. Where did you find it? She whispered. Emily looked at him. What are you telling me? Daniel closed the door behind him. He said nothing for several seconds. Then she whispered, Terrible mother promised me that this secret would die with her. Emily, go ahead. What secret? Daniel looked frightened. If you really want to know who Tamhara's father is, she swallowed, you have to leave this house tonight. Emily's heart stopped. Why? Daniel looked out the window. Because if it turns out you got the letter. She paused. He'll find you. Part 2. The man WHO never died. Emily barely slept that night. She kept reading her mother's letter again and again. There was only one question in her mind. Who was her real father? At 6 in the morning, she called Daniel. He didn't answer. She called again. Nothing. Then Emily noticed something strange. Daniel had left a voicemail. His voice was quiet. Emily. Don't come to my house. Don't call me again. I'll contact you when it's safe. Safe. From whom? Emily decided she needed answers. She returned to the photograph. On the back was a handwritten address. 17 Rosewood Lane. She recognized the place. It was an old cottage outside York. Emily was there that afternoon. The cottage looked abandoned. The windows were dirty and the garden was completely overgrown. She knocked. No response. Then she noticed an elderly woman watching her from the neighboring house. Are you looking for someone? The woman asked. Emily showed her the photograph. The woman's face changed instantly. Where did you get so good? It belongs to my mother. The woman stared at Emily. You're Eleanor's daughter. Emily nodded. The woman sighed. I wondered when you'd come. Emily felt chilled. You know my mom. Everyone around here knew her. Who was the man in this photograph? The woman looked towards the cottage. His name was Thomas Reed. Emily's breath caught. Was. The woman hesitated. Your mother told everyone he died. Emily stared at her. Everyone? The woman nodded. But he didn't. Emily felt as though the ground had disappeared beneath her feet. Where is he? The woman looked directly into Emily's eyes. I don't know. Then she added quietly, but someone else does. Who? The woman's expression became serious. Your Uncle Daniel. That evening, Emily returned home. As she entered the house, she noticed something had changed. The metal box was gone. Someone had searched her mother's bedroom. The drawers were open. Books were scattered across the floor. And on the mirror was a single handwritten message. Stop looking. Emily stood froze. Then her phone money. Unknown number. She replied. A man's voice whispered. Emily Carter. Who is this? You don't know me? Then why are you calling? Because your mother was right. Emily's heart raced. Right about what? The man said. Thomas Reed is alive. The call ended. Part 3. The secret in the bank. The next morning, Emily went to the bank where her mother had kept her savings. She had found an old bank card in a drawer. The manager recognized her mother's name. Your mom left something in a safety deposit box, he said. Emily stared at him. What? A sealed envelope. He placed it on the table. Emily opened it. Inside was a key. And one more note. Emily. If you have reached this point, you now know enough to understand that I wasn't protecting you from your father. I was protecting you from what your father knew. Emily read the sentence twice. Then she noticed a name written below it. Blackwood Industries. She knew the company. It was one of the largest private companies in Britain. Her mother had worked there 30 years earlier. Emily searched through old newspaper archives. Then she found my article. Businessman Thomas Reed disappears after corporate scandal. The article said Thomas Reed had been accused of stealing millions from Blackwood Industries. But he had disappeared before the police could question him. Emily stared at the photograph. Her father was simply a missing man. He had been involved in a major financial scandal. But why did her mother hide the truth? Emily returned home. That evening, Daniel finally called. Emily. Listen to me carefully. Where have you been? There's no time. You knew my father was alive. Silence. You didn't? Daniel sighed. Yes. Emily's eyes filled with tears. Why did Mum lie to me? Because she loves you. That's not my answer. Daniel's voice became shaky. Your father wasn't the villain everyone believed. Emily froze. What do you mean? He discovered something inside Blackwood Industries. What? I can't tell you over the phone. Then tell me where to meet you. Daniel hesitated. Tomorrow. 8 o'clock. York Railway Station. Promise you'll eat. I promise. The next evening, Emily waited. 8 o'clock came. 8:20. 8:30. Daniel never arrived. Then Emily's phone vibrated. A message. Go home, Emily. A second message followed. Your uncle will not be coming. Part 4. The woman WHO knew everything. Emily refused to go home. Instead, she returned to the bank. She asked about the safety deposit box. The manager told her there was one final item. A small USB drive. Emily took it. When she opened the files, she found dozens of documents. Bank transfers. Corporate records. Photographs. And finally, a video. Her mother's face appeared on the screen. Emily immediately began crying. Eleanor, her mother said, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Emily wiped her eyes. I never wanted you to discover any of this. Her mother explained that Thomas had discovered that senior executives at Blackwood Industries were secretly moving company money into offshore accounts. Thomas had tried to expose them, but someone inside the company betrayed him. They wanted Thomas to disappear, Eleanor said. Your father escaped because he knew that staying would put you in danger. Emily leaned closer to the screen. Thomas didn't steal the money. Her mother paused. He was framed. Emily covered her mouth. Then came the part that frightened her most. Daniel helped him. Emily froze. Her uncle had been involved from the beginning. The video continued. Daniel helped Thomas disappear. I helped protect you. We changed our names, moved towns and created a new life. Emily whispered. Why didn't you ever tell me? Her mother's eyes filled with tears. Because someone was still looking for him. The video ended. Emily jumped silently. Then she heard a noise outside. Someone was standing near the house. She switched off the lights. A shadow moved across the curtains. Her phone money. The same unknown number. This time the man didn't whisper. He said, "Now you know the truth." Emily's voice shook. Who are you? The man replied. My name is Thomas. Emily stopped breathing. Your father. Part 5. The phone call. Emily couldn't speak. Where are you? She finally asked. Somewhere I should have returned from years ago. Why didn't you? Because I was afraid. Afraid of what? Of losing you. Emily began to cry. You already lost me. Thomas was silent. I watched you grow up from a distance. Emily's anger exploded. You watched me? Yes. You watched Mum struggle alone? Yes. You watched me believe you were dead? It's hard not to choose. There's always a choice. Thomas said nothing. Emily wiped her tears. Tell me where you are. I can't. Why? Because the people who want me dead may still be watching. Emily asked. Who? Thomas had her one name. Richard Blackwood. The chairman of Blackwood Industries. Emily recognized the name immediately. Richard Blackwood had been in the news for decades. A respected businessman. A philanthropist. A man everyone trusted. Emily suddenly understood. If Thomas was telling the truth, one of Britain's most respected businessmen had built his reputation on a lie. Thomas continued. Your mother kept evidence. The USB. Yes, they know I have it. A pause. Emily, you should leave your house. Why? Because they will come. At that exact moment, Emily heard glass breaking downstairs. She dropped the phone. Someone had entered the house. She grabbed the USB and ran towards the back door. A man appeared in the hallway. Emily ran. She reached the garden and climbed over the fence. Behind her, she heard someone shout, "Stop!" She kept running. She didn't look back. For the first time in her life, Emily understood that her mother's secret wasn't simply a family secret. It was dangerous. And now she was part of it. Part 6. The man behind the name Emily hid in a small hotel outside Leeds. She contacted Thomas again. This time he agreed to meet. At midnight, the car arrived. An elderly man stepped out. Emily knew immediately. She had never met him. But she recognized his eyes. You look like your mom, he said. Emily couldn't move. Are you really my father? Thomas nodded. Emily slapped him. Then she hugged him. Both a little crying. For several minutes, neither spoke. Finally, Thomas explained everything. He had never stolen money. Richard Blackwood had used Thomas as a scapegoat after Thomas discovered the fraud. Daniel helped him escape. Eleanor helped raise Emily. But why did Mum make me believe you were dead? Thomas looked down. Because Richard threatened her. Emily's eyes widened. He knew about me. Yes. Then why didn't he hurt me? Because your mother made a deal. What's the deal? She promised never to reveal the evidence. Emily looked at the USB. And now I've found it. Thomas nodded. Which means the deal is over. Suddenly, a car stopped outside the hotel. Thomas looked through the window. His face changed. They found us, Emily whispered. Who? Thomas stowed. Run. Part 7. Betrayal. Emily and Thomas escaped through the rear entrance. They drove for hours. Eventually they reached the old farmhouse. There, Thomas revealed something Emily had never expected. Daniel was alive. He had been hiding. Emily was furious. Why didn't he meet me? Thomas sighed. Because Daniel was arrested 2 days ago. Emily stared at him. Arrested. He was trying to recover the original documents. Thomas explained that Daniel had spent years secretly gathering evidence against Richard Blackwood. But someone had betrayed him. Emily suddenly remembered the woman from Rosewood Lane. The woman who had known about her mother. She realized something. She was working for Blackwood. Thomas nodded. Probably. Emily sat down. Everything was connected. The photograph, the letter, the bank account, the USB. Daniel, Thomas, Blackwood. Then Thomas opened an old suitcase. Inside was a folder. This is the original evidence. Emily opened it. There were names, dates, bank accounts, millions of pounds transferred through hidden companies. And one final document. A signed agreement. Richard Blackwood had personally authorized the transfers. Emily looked at her father. We can expose him. Thomas shook his head. Not yet. Why? Because we need one thing. What? Richard himself. Part 8. Trap. Emily spent the next week preparing. She contacted a reporter. She contacted the solicitor. She copied every document. But Thomas had one final idea. They would make Richard believe the original evidence had been destroyed. Then they would wait. The plan worked. 2 days later, Richard Blackwood contacted Emily. He invited her to his private office. Emily went. Richard smiled warmly. I've heard a great deal about you. Emily sat opposite him. My mother knew you. Yes. And my father. Richard's smile disappeared. You've been speaking to Thomas. Emily remained silent. Richard leaned forward. Your mother should have taken her secret to the grave. Emily's heart raced. She did. Then why are you here? Because she left something behind. Richard stared at her. What? Emily smiled. You'll have to find out. Richard became angry. But Emily quietly stood. Before leaving, she said, your empire was built on a lie. Richard looked at her. And you have no idea how dangerous it is to threaten me. Emily replied, maybe. Then she walked away. Outside, she called Thomas. It worked, but Thomas sounded worried. What happened? Richard knows. Thomas paused. Emily. What? Don't go back to the hotel. Why? Because they've taken Daniel. Part 9. Price of the truth. Richard demanded the evidence. He threatened Daniel's life. Emily refused. Thomas wanted to surrender. Emily stopped him. No. He's my brother. And you're my father. Thomas looked at her. For the first time, Emily realized they were finally becoming a family. They contacted the authorities. A police operation was organized. Emily agrees to meet Richard. She carried a fake USB. Richard believed it contained everything. They met in an abandoned warehouse. Richard arrived with 2 men. Daniel was there. He looked exhausted but alive. Richard held up a hand. Give me the drive. Emily stepped forward. You first. Release Daniel. Richard laughed. You think you're in control? No. Emily looked directly at him. I know I'm not. Then she smiled. But you are. Richard frowned. What does that mean? Emily pointed towards the ceiling. Cameras. Richard looked up. The police lights appeared outside. He had walked directly into the trap. But before anyone could move, one of his men pulled a gun. Everything happened at once. Thomas pushed Emily aside. A shot rang through the warehouse. Thomas fell. Dad. Emily screamed. Part 10. Truth. The police arrested Richard and his men. Daniel was free. But Thomas was badly injured. Emily stayed beside him at the hospital. For 2 days. Doctors weren't sure if he would survive. Emily sat beside her bed. Found you, she whispered. You came back. Thomas opened his eyes. I'm sorry. Emily held her hand. I know. No. You don't? He took a breath. I've missed you forever. Emily cried. But you came back. Thomas smiled. Meanwhile, the evidence became public. Richard Blackwood was arrested. The newspapers reported the biggest corporate fraud scandal Britain had seen in decades. Thomas was cleared of every accusation. His name was finally restored. Daniel was released. And the world learned that the businessman everyone had called a thief had actually been the man who tried to expose the theft. But Emily still had one question. Why did Mum keep everything a secret until she died? Daniel replied. Because she knew the truth would destroy more than one life. Emily looked at her mother's photograph. For the first time. She understood. Her mother had not been protecting a secret. She had been protecting her daughter. Part 11. Last letter. Months passed. Thomas recovered. Emily began building a relationship with him. It wasn't easy. 31 years could not be repaired in a few conversations. But they tried. One afternoon, Emily returned to her mother's house. She opened the old bedroom. Something caught her eye. The floorboard. She lifted it. There was another envelope. She opened it. Her mother's final letter. My darling Emily, if you have found this letter, then you finally know everything. I am sorry I lied to you. But I want you to understand something. Your father did not abandon you. He stayed away because he believed distance was the only way to keep you alive. And I didn't hide the truth because I was ashamed. I hid it because I loved you. If one day you meet your father, don't punish him for the years he lost. Give him a chance I could never give him. And Emily, don't spend your life being afraid of the truth. The truth may hurt. But living inside a lie hurts for much longer. Emily held the letter against her heart. Then she cried. Not because her mother had lied, but because she finally understood why. Part 12. Home. 1 year later, Emily stood beside her father at a small family gathering. There was no mansion, not expensive cars, no newspaper cameras, just family. Thomas looked at Emily. Do you think your mother would be happy? Emily smiled. I think she would. Daniel raised his glass. But Eleanor. Everyone raised their glasses. Emily looked around the room. For years, she believed her family was broken. Now she understood something. Sometimes a family doesn't disappear because people leave. Sometimes it survives quietly beneath years of secrets, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. Thomas tugged at Emily's hand. I can't give you back the years I missed. Emily looked at him. No, she smiled. But you can give me the years we still have. Thomas's eyes filled with tears. And for the first time in 31 years, Emily felt something she had almost forgotten existed. She felt complete. The old photograph that had once represented a painful mystery was now sitting safely inside a frame on Emily's mantelpiece. Her mother, her father, and a younger version of herself. 3 people who had been separated by fear, lies, and circumstances. But somehow, after all those years, They had found their way back to each other. Emily often thought about the final words in her mother's letter. Don't spend your life being afraid of the truth. And she never did. Because she finally understood that the truth doesn't always destroy families. Let's submit. The truth is what, and I didn't hide the truth because I was ashamed. I hid it because I loved you. If one day you meet your father, don't punish him for the years he lost. Give him a chance I could never give him. And Emily. Don't spend your life being afraid of the truth. The truth may hurt. But living inside a lie hurts for much longer. Emily held the letter against her heart. Then she cried. Not because her mother had lied, but because she finally understood why. Part 12. Home. 1 year later, Emily stood beside her father at a small family gathering. There was no mansion, not expensive cars, no newspaper cameras, just family. Thomas looked at Emily. Do you think your mother would be happy? Emily smiled. I think she would. Daniel raised his glass. But Eleanor. Everyone raised their glasses. Emily looked around the room. For years, she believed her family was broken. Now she understood something. Sometimes a family doesn't disappear because people leave. Sometimes it survives quietly beneath years of secrets, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover the truth. Thomas tugged at Emily's hand. I can't give you back the years I missed. Emily looked at him. No, she smiled. But you can give me the years we still have. Thomas's eyes filled with tears. And for the first time in 31 years, Emily felt something she had almost forgotten existed. She felt complete. The old photograph that had once represented a painful mystery was now sitting safely inside a frame on Emily's mantelpiece. Her mother, her father, and a younger version of herself. 3 people who had been separated by fear, lies, and circumstances. But somehow, after all those years, they had found their way back to each other. Emily often thought about the final words in her mother's letter. Don't spend your life being afraid of the truth. And she never did. Because she finally understood that the truth doesn't always destroy families. Let's submit. Emily often thought about the final words in her mother's letter. Don't spend your life being afraid of the truth. And she never did. Because she finally understood that the truth doesn't always destroy families. Let's submit. The truth is what brings them home.